Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Rants with Jason Burmiss.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, everybody. I am Jason Burmiss. This is Reality Rants. We're on redvoicemedia.com. You can find the second hour over at RVM Rumble.com. And Mitch McConnell is booed into oblivion. Now, Mitch McConnell has been an establishment, do nothing good for the common folk politician basically his entire career. I cannot point to anything or any time I have ever been impressed with Mitch McConnell. And that's why he's risen to the level that he has, because he's basically a yes and spin man. And I'll tell you right now that unless this happens every day he goes out into public and is put on blast, he's not stepping down. And what do I mean by this? Well, Mitch McConnell really can't go anywhere. He was humiliated as he is drowned out by chance of retire and mercilessly booed for 5 minutes straight during his speech to his own constituents in Kentucky. People don't want this guy there, period. They want Thomas Massie. They want Rand Paul. Those are the type of people that any person who is really involved in the day-to-day political arena and the issues at hand that matter, they don't want Mitch McConnell. Now, that's number one. Number two is, look, like it or not, Trump is wildly popular. He's wildly popular. He's more popular now that they are prosecuting him into the ground and trying to actually put him in prison, as I predicted years ago. Yeah, I said, look, Donnie T wants to run in 2024. They're going to try to put Donnie T in jail. Happening. Very obvious that was the plan. And a guy like Mitch McConnell is also there to set a narrative that he cannot be the nominee under any circumstance for this primary. We're in wild times. But I want to say this. I 100% applaud this behavior. We should be doing this. And when I say we, I mean the American public. All right? Don't care if you're a Democrat. Don't care if you're a Republican. Don't care if you're an independent. If you really want these people out and you happen to be in an area where they are speaking, you need to get your friends, regardless of their political beliefs, and say, hey, we got a hack politician coming in. Let's shout him down like they did McConnell. We want that person out of politics. We want to show everybody how unhappy we are with the system. And that's what needs to be done. I mean, this is prime time, baby. I love this. I love it. Does it mean he's stepping down? No. But, you do this another 15, 30, 60, 90 days in a row, and this guy literally has to cancel any kind of a public appearance a politician would have. Well, now you got a train a moving, a chugging along, a choo-choo. You know what I'm saying? So let's just watch it. I'm gonna have to lower the volume on this one because it's quite loud. He gets shouted down quite loudly. No interruptions needed. That shows you right there how the public feels about a guy like McConnell and where they really want him in the public or political arena. They want him out of it. And it's not just because, obviously, he's elderly and had a medical incident where he froze up in front of everybody. Just a little over, I think, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in that realm. It's because they don't like his policies, right? And they don't like how he's a snake. And even when, his supporters tried to applaud him during some type of a speech that you can't even hear, where he brings up a republic, blah 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 blah, or maybe he was trying to say Republican. Hard to tell. He's booed down. It's not just retire. He's booed down. They don't want this guy. They don't want this guy. And by the way, it's on both sides. Again, both sides of the arena. Take a look right here. Dianne Feinstein, 90, cedes power of attorney to daughter, but is still serving in Congress. And I mean, just watch. She doesn't know what's going on.
Clerk will call the roll.
Senator Feinstein.
Say aye.
Pardon me?
Aye.
Yeah.
In the green right here.
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense. And it funds priorities submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just
Great.
aye.
Thank you.
Senator Durbin.
These are the people. So, and again, even the younger ones that are constantly just reading, not from a checklist of points, but a pre-prepared statement, they're not impressive people. But Feinstein is 90. McConnell is 81. It's one of the reasons that Vivek Ramaswamy is an appealing candidate. And I don't know what people are going to think about this, but I guess I'm going to bring it up because we're talking political arena. We're talking about voting. He says the youngest GOP presidential candidate, I keep saying he's 38, I guess he's 37, wants civics tests for young voters 18 to 24. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's not fair. And basically, you can't do that because, are you going to have Amish people who do vote, by the way, vote big time? Not they're a huge sect, but are you going to have those people forced to have a civics test? Maybe, I guess. And when we're talking about 18 to 24, is this going to be college aged at the end of high school? There are a lot of people that turn 18 their senior year. I would say that we bring civics back 100% in our high schools, and that civics needs to be I would say at least like the 10th to 12th grade curriculum. And I would also say that, believe it or not, if you're going to get a mass comm degree, right? And I crap all over these degrees all the time, and I should. Because I'll tell you what, I don't see more people in my circle of, like, I'm not even saying college friends, but I'm in a fraternity. So like generations are in there. And from young to old, those who have a communications degree and didn't really specialize in anything, like you didn't specialize in engineering or videography. When I say engineering, it could be audio or video. You just kind of passed it. It's a garbage degree. You don't do anything. Yeah, you throw civics on there, and at least you'll have some kind of an idea of how the political system works and what's going on in the world. And maybe that's going to like prepare you a little bit more for life. I'm spitballing here for all you guys out there with mass comm degrees. Because it's like, I mean, I've come across them as an employer in some fields. And it's just like, again, if they know exactly what they want to do, right? Like they know they want to produce maybe on a show. I have seen people get that degree, immediately go to work, and then rise up. But if they don't have a direction, you didn't learn anything. You skated and you know it. Might as well learn a little civics. Yeah, you know, civics is great for a number of reasons, because it not only exposes you to different political ideologies, it teaches you the mechanisms in which you can make arguments for or against those ideologies, beliefs. It's really an essential tool to, I believe, have a proper discussion and true dissent, meaningful dissent in this country to get things changed. Now, a guy like Mitch McConnell doesn't want that. A guy like Mitch McConnell, on the end of his road right here, all the way, like every part of that road, he wants to milk that power and lick that establishment boot no matter what. And he knows that's going to be more difficult, okay, with a more involved, articulate, educated populace. Just the facts, Jack. So for Vivek, I like him. He really hasn't said much I dislike, if anything. I think there's a naivety there because, I saw this video of him where he's basically saying he's going to clean the entire slate. FBI, DOJ, NSA, good luck. Yeah, he's just going to fire all these people. Does he think that especially people in the intelligence world and in the black programs world and the actual Q clearance world, which actually exists, are just going to stop working? Like, and does he also think he's going to get like a full sweep of these special access programs? I mean, I'd love to hear him even say some Bannon talk. In fact, that would probably be my first question. Is will you do that same thing that we're discussing? Will you allow for the American people to be adults and see how the system really works and how corrupt and decrepit our internal agencies and their mechanisms are? And again, the 9/11 stuff needs to be on the table. It's funny. I had a conversation with Sam Husseini yesterday. Great independent journalist. Can't recommend him enough. We played some of his clips here and spent an hour with him. That is over at Premium. I told you guys I was going to get 3 premiums this weekend. I tried. Believe me. Up until the very last minute of last night, I tried. I got 2. I gave you Allison Morrow, ex-independent journalist. Great interview there. And now Sam Husseini, another top-of-the-line interview. That's at redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Try it for $1 today, by the way. $10 a month to support the program, or lock it in at $100. Again, I will not disappoint. I was trying to. In fact, I'm going to try tomorrow or tonight to get one up. We're going to see whether I can get this person on, and we're going to be talking UAPs. We're going to come back. I got a lot of videos lined up. I want you to thumbs it up, subscribe, and share after a word from our sponsor.
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. Act swiftly, 833-287-2465.
We are back, and of course Trump couldn't help but get in the mix. Now, this to me plays into this idea of left versus right. Trump suggests Democrats have something on Mitch McConnell, as he insists Senate GOP leader is not doing enough to fight back against his mounting legal troubles. He hadn't done anything. Hey, it's not see, but the problem is he's playing into this idea of the Democrats are doing this. No, bro, stop it. The Democrats are a vehicle for the same corrupt system that we've been talking about. And the vast majority of them, unfortunately, are unwavering. And that's another thing. When I watch the Republicans and the Democrats together at these UAP hearings, just bootlicking. So some of the literal worst politicians on both sides of the aisle, just, you're so brave. You're so brave. Because we know these people often call real whistleblowers brave. So I mean, Trump talking about the Democrats having something on Mitch McConnell. Come on, man. First of all, he's put into power because he's a malleable puppet. God knows what the establishment has on him. That's reality. Now, at the same time, I end up being sympathetic to Trump. And here's a video of RFK Jr. calling out the Russia John nonsense that proceeds to this day. That is still a thing to this day and needs to stop. However, if you want to see the flip side of that, again, my conversation with Sam Husseini was absolutely stellar. We're going to be playing clips of that throughout the week. He was very critical of RFK Jr., especially on the Israeli issue. I've got a clip of the Gray Zone talking about that and his interview with Jimmy Dore, and rightfully asking the question if, he's going to either flip his stance or be very ignorant on that issue, which really is an issue of occupation and apartheid in many cases. Again, Jimmy Carter even called it out with peace, not apartheid, many, many years ago. You can't have a segregationist state, especially one where you are utilizing all the mechanisms of a martial law-driven surveillance state. And, man, my conversation with Husseini was great. Again, very critical of RFK Jr. At the same time, RFK Jr. is interjecting a lot of truth into the public arena, and right now I think he is building bridges rather than burning them, especially on issues like the Russia hoax.
There's always been a concern that if you have a national police agency, it will be weaponized by the president to serve a political agenda. And that was a fear from the beginning of the creation, when both the FBI and in 1947, when the CIA, was authorized. Everybody, Republicans, Democrats, were deeply, deeply concerned because they said these national police agencies are really a feature of totalitarian regimes like the Stasi and East Germany, the KGB in Russia. And we have had a problem from at least the 1960s of the FBI being weaponized against political dissent. And then there were reforms in the 70s and 80s to a series of FBI directors after Hoover's death that tried to depoliticize the agency, but it now is heavily politicized. We saw, the FBI legitimizing Russiagate, the propaganda against Trump, and I'm not a fan of Trump's, but I don't think that the FBI should be deployed against any presidential.
Obviously. And that's, and by the way, if you don't think that the FBI is currently being deployed against this guy, I think that you'd be absolutely naive. He's laying out right here how the infrastructure itself has been corrupt for decade upon decade upon decade. And, he's also making the point he's not a fan of Trump's. A lot of people have had this kind of I think, fever dream of a Trump RFK Jr. ticket. I don't think that's not only not a probability, I don't even know if that's in the realm of possibility. However, what I do think might be in the possibility is, can you imagine if both of them ran independent, or better yet, Trump said, forget the GOP and wanted to take the libertarian, just so he could get on the ballot, the libertarian ballot. And if the Green Party, although they are super corrupt, were to give it to RFK Jr., now, believe me, I know that is a fever dream unto itself. But boy, oh boy, you want to shake the system up. The two independent candidates that are on every single ballot. That could, I guarantee that both of them in real elections get more votes than Biden, period. And whatever Republican they put out there, it seems like their preference is DeSantis. He's getting pushed extremely hard. Just saying. All right, let's let RFK Jr. continue here.
Whether I agree with that candidate or not, and the Christille file and all of these things that had now, we know that the Durham report has shown us that a lot of those are untrue. They were propaganda that was abetted by people within those agencies, and both the CIA participated too. You had 60 CIA agents or high-level officials signing a public letter that said that the Hunter Biden laptop was a fake, was Russian disinformation, when they either didn't know or they knew it was a lie.
Yeah.
And that's something that we should not tolerate.
Do you think they should be punished for this?
Yeah, of course they should be punished.
Listen, they're not getting punished. You know what's happening? They're getting promoted. They're making their check. It's part of their job. It's part of the gig. All right, it's part of the gig. So, lest I be accused of not hearing all voices here, I want to play this clip of the gray zone being critical of RFK Jr. and his stance on Israel.
Well, it's been attacked. It was then attacked in '67, and the
Wait a minute, there's another lie. We've advanced 5 seconds and you get another. Israel was attacked in 1967. Israel attacked in 1967. It destroyed the entire Egyptian Air Force before Egypt was able to do anything or had any plans to do anything.
Yeah, and Israel claimed it was preemptive because all the Arab states were planning on attacking it, when meanwhile, Israel had been shelling parts of Syria to try to get a reaction because they wanted all these countries to attack, because they wanted an excuse to then occupy the land, which they exactly did. So 67 is a great example. Israel says it's a defensive war, but somehow in the so-called defensive war, Israel ends up stealing all this land that it really covets. It takes the Golan Heights from Syria, it takes the Sinai, and it takes the West Bank and Gaza. How many defensive wars end up with a country that's on the defensive stealing and occupying more land than it had when it began? It's incredible. And again, there's so much scholarship done on this too. It's like, even in Israel, I don't even know if this argument is made anymore.
Even in Israel, they say, well, it was a brilliant, like Michael Oren wrote this propagandistic chronicle of the '67 war. And he acknowledges that Israel attacked first, but he said they did so because it was out of strategic necessity. But RFK doesn't even know that they attacked first. They started the war.
And from its attackers, the Palestinians, again, were on the losing side.
Oh, they're on the losing side, so they get to have all of their stuff taken, all of their land taken. That's what we do. If you lose, it's just a Hobbesian world where the more powerful military force gets to take everything and militarily control you indefinitely because you're the loser.
But it took strips of land from the attackers, which is the West Bank, Gaza, Sinai, and the Golan Heights. And then Israel said, look, we want to give it all back. But we're not going to give it back because you can attack us from those parts. We're not going to give it back unless you promise us peace. If you renounce violence against us, if you admit that we have a right to exist, we'll give it back. Egypt said yes. And Syria got the Golan Heights and Sinai, and they got it back.
Do you hear what he just said?
Syria got the Golan Heights? That's news to Syria. Yeah.
That would be news to Donald Trump, who got his own settlement named after him in the occupied Golan Heights, Trump Heights.
And as you said earlier,
he doesn't even know that the Golan Heights is still occupied by Israel.
So, first of all, I applaud them for doing that. Second of all, I have had the craziest. I mean, I guess today's the day that I am going to have to like reformat my entire computer because it looks like to me right now. Now, I don't know if this is the case. It doesn't seem to be because I can see my feed to Krista here. That I guess I'm going to go with it. But what I'm looking at is a frozen Jimmy door. And I'm going to ride this one until the wheels fall off. Man, it's so annoying. Like, I had my computer crash this morning. I made sure to restart. And right now, I would have figured, I guess I can still click through all my stuff and kind of see what's going on, only because I have my Skype feed up here and my other feed. But thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Help a guy out. Help a guy out. If it does crash, guys, I don't know what to say. I probably have to go get myself a new hard drive, 4 terabytes, and NVMe for the dorks there. But look, everything that Blumenthal and Mate said right there was spot on. They're given a real historical record. And look, RFK Jr., it's a big problem. You know, I talked about this with Husseini. It's a big problem that we have a system that refuses to talk about these type of things, number one. But when you see that Israel is really in the middle of a lot of these very dark black ops, right? And especially when we talk about Iran-Contra, which is very much like this military-industrial complex entity that goes beyond the nation state. It creates this circle of plausible deniability, and it utilizes, obviously, intelligence aspects and black markets of nation states, but it colludes behind the scene in a almost unapproachable and untouchable manner, where even when Iran-Contra, which is one of the largest scandals ever for the military-industrial complex, obviously, even with that, you had very limited prosecutions. People were then pardoned after the fact. And the network itself absolutely 100% not only stayed intact, but continued to be in power, I believe, up until this day. And that's one of the reasons that I think it's, I don't know, I think it's naive to think that these people are just going to give up that power spot. They're just going to give it on up. And actually, I've got a clip when we come back on possibly fortifying elections in California. And again, we live in this wonderverse where if you start questioning machines or voter rolls, you're some kind of conspiracy theorist now. They're coming right after you. And California, that is notoriously blue big time, has its issues. I'm still not convinced that Larry Elder didn't win in the recall election. Imagine that. Boy, Conspiracy Joe over here. All right, let's hit a commercial. We're going to come back. I'm going to play this clip of, I believe it's the sheriff of San Joaquin County, talking about voter irregularities.
When I invented MyPillow, my passion was to help each and every one of you. And 20 years later, all of your support is what keeps us going. Because of you, we've been able to create thousands of USA jobs and help millions get the best sleep ever. To thank you.
So I guess part of this bug is that we are frozen. Man, this is so weird. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Krista, because obviously you guys heard Big Mike over there, and I'm not talking about Michelle. Oh! But for some reason, the Jimmy Dore thing is stuck. Let's go to news really quick and see if here. Okay, I see that. Can we scroll? No, it's stuck on that Trump story, so I won't be able to go any stories. And I won't be able to go into any videos today. Oh, man, this is a nightmare. Because I got a half an hour left in the regular show. I can, like, disconnect, and you'll get the RVM feed. And then I'll have to edit everything together afterwards and put this up. Boy, that is super disappointing. That is so, like, if I come over here, what's it just going to be me and the Jimmy Dore thing? Yeah. Of course it is. Super disappointing. What do I do here, guys? What do I do? Do I hang it up? I think I'm probably going to have to hang it up. And I'm going to have to come back. So listen, this is the deal. The second hour, really half an hour of the first hour right now, is going to be exclusively at rvmrumble.com, including the video feed. I'm going to have Krista go to a commercial. I'm going to X out of this. Put on a long one, Krista. Maybe even 2 back-to-back. RVMRumble.com, RVMRumble.com, RVMRumble.com. And hopefully after the commercial, you will see me there. I apologize that we didn't at least get the first hour up at YouTube. I really, really do. It's not what I was trying to do here at all. So YouTube, Rumble, Rockfin, I will at least repost later with everything together on a couple of those platforms. But this is it. So I'm going to stop streaming. I'm going to get rid of the, I guess, this XSplit feed. And Krista, if we could right now go to commercial. I'm not going to hang up with you. I'm going to stay on the line with you. I just have to relaunch XSplit. But everybody else watching me on everything but rvmrumble.com or RVM's Rumble page, guys, I'm sorry. Technical difficulties. When we come back, we'll actually be able to play the videos that I just tried to play and could not. We'll talk about the election anomalies and much more when we come back. Sorry about that, guys. All right, Krista, hit the commercial.